And welcome to Uplifting Humans, where we honor, empower, educate, and inspire the listener. I'm Cylindrin Buller, your host. Our guest today is Kevin Jackson, an elite certified teacher through the Center for Akashic Studies. He's a healer, a visionary, a practitioner that teaches 4 certification workshops along with a 1-day workshop called Empowering the Akashic Light-worker. Having extensive experience of giving readings around the world, he continues helping others find a perspective from their soul level truth. His focus is always on transforming people from struggling with life to having an empowered life. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you so much, Celinda. I'm
It's
so happy for me.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day here in Vancouver, BC, Canada. And how's it in your neck of the woods over there? And it's Manitoba, right?
Alberta.
Alberta. Okay. And how is it there?
Nice. It's beautiful. It actually warmed up and it's not snowing, so
Oh, well,
very
then we're
nice.
lucky, right?
Feels like spring.
Well, this is what we
Yeah.
need. We need good weather, especially right now to
Mhm.
lift our spirits.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, a lot of people out there full of fear. And so, hoping that all these things that we're doing at no charge to the listener, hopefully it'll help some people discover a little bit more about themselves. And on that note, maybe you can share a little bit about yourself.
Um, okay, well, I started in with Akashic Records in around 2013. I had went through a couple relationship issues and stuff like that, and I had taken, and a lot of my past up until then was involved in the church. I grew up in a Christian church. My grandparents and my parents were very church orientated, and it wasn't a bad life. It was good. The biggest thing was that the the church didn't supply that their deep level love that I needed within myself.
Mm-hmm.
And going through the normal things, I did I smoked, and I did a few things like that, and of course the church kind of looked down at me. And
Mm-hmm.
then I started having issues, or not really issues. I started to explore my own sexual preferences and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when the church really became, okay, that's evil. You have to, go through these here courses and reroute yourself and stuff. And of course, being a good Christian boy, I did the courses. I did the family um, thing where you go through it, and the past sins of your family are alleviated, and all that kind of stuff.
Of
And
course, of
so,
course. Talk about judgmental. I mean, it starts right there, right?
yeah,
It's so accepting of them. Oh my goodness.
yeah, and it didn't help. Right? It didn't. It was supposed to, my idea that I thought, I'd do as they told me, and it would be, I would be cured.
Uh-huh.
It's such a way to cure the human soul. Not really.
Yes,
But
yes.
so then, when I actually got into a relationship, and I left the church, and well, I didn't really leave the church. I separated myself out and became my own experience within, my divine love and the rest of that. And I had my relationships, and then that all broke up. I figured, I'm in the perfect relationship. I'm supposed to be forever love, and it didn't happen that way. And so I was
Yes.
devastated. So I'm going, there has to be more than life to this. Like, what's going on here? So then, searching, and it just happened that, there was a course taught in a city close to me where, they were teaching about how to access your Akashic records. And so
Mm-hmm.
I looked into it a little bit, and I thought, well, it actually sounds kind of boring. It's not psychic work, right? It's spiritual work. And I was expecting a psychic twist to it, and there was none.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But um, once I learned how to access the Akashic Records is a soul level dimension of consciousness. And it reaches into the depths of your soul and accesses that part of unconditional love that lies within each and every one of us.
Mm-hmm.
And having that connection, all of a sudden I realized what I was searching for in the whole world and in the universe was actually lying within me.
Isn't that something? Now, we're going to backtrack just a little bit because I'm sure every person out there listening is probably wondering now, you're going to the church, the family isn't quite happy, the church community isn't quite happy. Um, how did they feel when you jumped into this Akashic record stuff?
Well, I'd already distanced myself quite a bit from the church, so didn't really have too much connection to them.
Mm-hmm.
My family, of course, like I had my connection with my family, and some of them were very supportive. Some were a little bit hesitant. Others were very hesitant. There's a whole range there,
Yes.
and that's understandable because um, as aggressive as people can be about their religious viewpoints, they are really trying to protect you.
Mm.
And that's what they're doing. They're trying to protect me, and I have to love them for that, and I have to give them that credit. It didn't really help me, but they were doing their best, so we can give them that much of it, and it kind of takes the sting off it a little bit, if
Now I
that
know
makes
that
sense.
it kind of seems that as though it came very naturally, instinctively to you. Did it really, or was that a challenge as well to really come from that place of understanding that, they're just looking out for my best interest, or they're feeling a little fearful, but realistically, it's a different kind of love?
It's that's what you grow into, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we were born that way, then we certainly wouldn't need this here whole human experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, it was a growing into, it was a step by step. Um, there was times where, I went to bed crying. It's like, oh my gosh, nobody loves me, and I don't know what I'm doing. And then,
So
other
that
days you wake
was,
up, it's okay.
sorry, that was kind of like your awakening to, okay, I have to go. It was the what life presented you was a challenge or a struggle that kind of woke you up and said, okay, we're going to go on this internal journey now.
Exactly. And that's what, and really, when we come into this human experience, I've come to learn is that it's really to do that. They were looking at how can we love ourselves even though I have gone through, I went through the church. How can I love myself even though the church won't support me anymore, right?
Right,
On an
right,
emotional level, or how can I love myself even though, my family doesn't get me, you know,
right,
they're hard
right.
lessons. Yes.
So now, just for some of the people that are not familiar with the Akashic records, if you can just explain once again, um, what exactly are the Akashic records, and maybe what can one expect to experience, or when they go for like an Akashic records, uh, healing ceremony, is it, or how is that presented?
Yeah, it's not really a healing ceremony. We don't even really describe it as healing within the Akashic records. Um, it's connected with the soul. The Akashic records is a soul level dimension. So it lies within the Akashic records, and we describe, or I like to describe it as the connective tissue between your soul and the divine. So it's that connective tissue where that lies everything within your soul. It has two levels or two aspects to it. The one is fixed. So that is like your DNA or your imprint of your soul. We do not mess around with that. That there we can't change. We it's not evolving. we go into their aspect of it. The second part is evolving, and that would be um, the chronicles of your soul. So it started right from the conception of your soul up until now, and it holds all the lifetimes that you have went through, all the ancestral lines, all that their information lies within the Akashic records. And it's evolving because as we're living, like even at this moment, the Akashic records is growing and expanding. So what we're experience right here today in the now is being recorded within the Akashic records. They are vibrational, so it's not like some places they describe it as a big book that every our whole soul's existence is written down. It's not really a book; it's vibrational. It's a dimension. So, but it's really refined. So every little bit is recorded within that. Um, because it's soul level, it is totally self-loving. It's divine love that lies within us, and because it runs through us, that's the core of our being, is that love. And as we are experiencing life and looking at life, that their love that dwells within us, the love and the light dwells within us, it shines out into the world. Because we have so many things that happen to us and stuff, then some of those there's veils and filters that get placed in front of us so that it doesn't shine quite as clearly out into the world as what we'd like it to be, right? So when you come for an Akashic record reading, what we do is we start looking at things that is happening to you right here and now at this very moment. So if you're having a relationship problem, then we'll look at a relationship problem and find out, okay, how does this here relationship supporting you? What is going on here that we need to look at so you can move into the relationship more strongly, or maybe you need to move away from it.
Right,
What's
right,
going on here? How can we empower you to have a better lifetime, a better experience?
right.
And yeah,
And what was your first experience when you went? Obviously, you had a positive experience, and that's why you do Akashic Records readings. But what was your first experience? What did you feel? What did you know to the core of your truth that this is it? Like, if you
there
can
was
explain that.
the first time I actually opened up my actually the first time I opened up my records, I really felt that I wasn't even really in there. It's
Okay.
like, it's like I don't know what's going on here. Um, it wasn't though too long before I started to actually feel the connection, and because the Akashic records are so level, that it becomes very common, like it's a commonplace. So then, um, but when I went in there and I felt there was a divine, and I can't even really explain because it's almost like a spiritual experience of divine love,
Okay.
unconditional. No matter what happens, you are loved. And that's what I thought. That's what I had in my mind. That was, a God. That was a God's love, right? And here was
Yes.
lying within me, and that's what I felt for. And it was only for really a brief moment, um, but it had a huge impact on me. And it was through that experience that I started to really search and explore. Okay, what's going on here? How can I work into this here feeling and have this support within my life consistently every day, not just one brief fleeting moment.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so then I started really studying and yeah.
Okay, so my understanding of the Akashic records are it's like a library of all the past lives that you've had. And so you go into here and you can go look at certain things that never made sense to you. And all of a sudden now you can put a finger on, okay, I had this particular life experience in this particular realm or in this particular lifetime, and now I can deal with it. So that is not the true Akashic records that you are speaking of.
That is, well, it's very similar. What we do is everything that we take on um, at this moment in time. At one time, it was a good idea. We took it on for a positive reason, right? We don't take on anything that's going to harm us or be bad for us, because the Akashic assumption is we always do our very best. If we had a better idea, we would have did that. But this is the idea that we had at this moment. So, you come in here and, you were to come for a reading and say you were having a problem with, weight. You know, I just can't seem to lose weight. And no matter what I do. So then, we go in and we ask, okay, we open up your Akashic records and we ask, what is going on here? Why was it such a good idea for you to hold on to this weight? And what is going to happen is we're going to ask, when was it a good idea? And they're going to show us, okay, when was this a good idea? Now, it could have come from a past life where maybe you had went through great poverty and starvation, and all of a sudden you decided in that lifetime it was a good idea to put on weight to help me maintain. When the food is available, you whipped her in and put on the weight. So it could have been that. It could have been that it was an ancestral problem. One of your ancestors went through, and guaranteed, one of your ancestors has went through a Great Depression, and food was very scarce. So then, all of a sudden, it's a good idea to hold on to put as much weight on as you can, and to hold it because there's going to become a time. So it come through an ancestral line. It could be, and it's kind of interesting. Um, I had one case where, a very similar where, someone was having a problem with weight. And it was, they had, when we asked when it was a good idea, it was when they were born, their mother couldn't produce the milk and she was brand new. She didn't know what she was doing. So the poor baby was, literally starving to death, malnutrition. And the mother didn't know because she wasn't producing the milk. And it was at that moment that baby in this lifetime decided, I'm going to eat as much as I can when I can because I don't
Ah,
want to starve to death, right?
yes,
So
yes.
we don't go into the Akashic records and ask, what's going on about past life because, maybe it wasn't a past life at all that was affecting us. It was we allow them to show us where to go for that
And
into the.
so when it comes to helping someone deal with trauma or deal with a certain addictive behavior, you would walk them through to the Akashic records and explore, and then come back being able to work on whatever that is.
Well, what happens? Yeah, we like I do the exploring for them, and then I describe what I'm getting right as a reader. Um, what happens is when we get back to the point where it was a good idea for them to take it on, then all of a sudden there is an acceptance to it. Of course I did that. Of course I'm putting on weight because I was starving to death when I was a baby. Or of course I'm doing this because my ancestors taught me to do that. It was a good idea. It was to keep us safe and to secure our lineage, right? So by doing that, all of a sudden we take the energy off it, right?
I see.
So
Okay.
instead of going, oh my God, I need to lose weight, it's like, well, of course I could put weight on uh, because it was such a good idea.
Right.
And by doing
Right.
that, all of a sudden, it's much easier to go, okay, well, I only need one little helping. I don't need, that second big helping. Or so it takes the energy off that there, because the more you
Right.
focus negatively on something, the more it's like crazy glue and it sticks to you.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
So that's what we do, and we shift the perspective over into it's okay, and then you can go move into that perspective.
And so you
Yeah.
become a conduit as well. So, say if you're doing an Akashic record reading at a distance, like Reiki, I'm a Reiki master and a Seikine practitioner myself.
Mhm.
You would then become a conduit and do a reading for someone on their behalf. Is that what happens?
Yeah, I would like we'd be just like we are here. Um,
Okay.
I do like the method I use is Dr. Linda Howe's pathway prayer process. It is to the heart of the Akashic records. Um, that so we say the prayer, we open up your records, and that their prayer, it seats us deliberately and consciously into your records. And we do that by using your legal name to make sure we're in your records and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then for me as a practitioner, you're talking to me, and as you're talking about your story and what's going on in your life, what is really evident and true gets empowered. What isn't what isn't true or what isn't empowered, the energy is taken off and it falls away. So then what happens is we're really looking at the core issue of exactly what's going on. And then we start exploring, okay, when was this a good idea? Right. And then I can, as a practitioner, I look at seeing what's going on. We shift that perspective over to a new one. And then after the records are closed, you can grow into that perspective. There's a growing period into it. So,
Right, right.
you
Well,
know,
that's great. And I know that travel and you teach, and you've got four different workshops. Maybe you can share with
mhm.
us what those particular four workshops are about.
um, the yeah, I'm an elite certified teacher through Dr. Linda Howe. Um, There is, I'm really proud to say that I am the only elite certified teacher in Canada. There is only actually 10 in the world of us that have that status. So um, the last 3 years I have worked on Linda's team teaching on, or helping her with on the team on the online courses. So um, that was really exciting. The first two courses that I teach, and they're all based on Dr. Linda Howe's books. How to Read the Akashic Records is the first one. Um, that one, we teach how to access the Akashic Records. So it's a weekend course, and it goes. We teach you how to open up your own Akashic Records, how to open up the records of other people, so you can do readings for other people, and how to open up the records of non-humans. And
Oh,
that's
so like animals?
yeah, like animals, crystals, houses, businesses, um,
Oh, wow.
yeah, stuff like that. Not
Okay.
human, like here on Earth. It's an earthly realm, so we it's only earthly things. But yeah, we open up sacred places. Another one. If you're really good, like if you're a real estate agent and you really love houses, you'd probably be really good at opening up the records of houses. And finding out about what's going on with the house and how to, what kind of family wants to go into the house. Or, if you're really good with animals, then probably you'd be really good at opening up the records of an animal. And
Wow.
there's all kinds of neat stories there. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that's the first course that we teach. The second one is the second half of the book, and it's an orange book. Um, and that there one goes into energy healing in the Akashic Records, ancestral clearing, and past lives, reconciling past lives. And so in that course, we find out how to work in the records with those three sections of it.
Okay. So the first one is Read the Akashic Records Practitioner's Certification.
Yeah,
And then the second one is the Advanced Practitioner Certification.
advanced practitioner certification, and those two are specifically on working within the Akashic Records. That's the how tos and and the technical ins and outs, and not that it's terribly technical, but there's always help because it's a soul level dimension. Lots of people have problems. Am I really getting anything? Because you know I already know this. And it's like, well, of course you already know it because it's your soul. This is confirming what you know. So,
Right.
so we help them with that. That help. So that's the technical. The second one is the blue book, Healing Through the Akashic Records. And that there, when we start looking at the inward problems that we face, all our sacred wounds, because we're humans, we all have, stuff happens, right? We're human, and we come to this here earth to have this human experience, and my goodness, we get it, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So we go
Yeah.
through all this stuff, and there is all kinds of issues with self-abandonment.
Hmm.
That's huge. Um, and the realization with self-abandonment, the big thing is, it doesn't matter whether it was really true or not. As long as we believed it to be true, then it's true to us. So that would be like if you run up to your mother when she was baking, um, wanting her to look at something, and she tells you to get away because she's busy right now. And the reality is she's telling you to get away because she doesn't want you to get burnt, or she can't deal with it right now. And you take it as, she really wants me to get away. And
Right.
you step outside yourself. So we start looking at situations like that, and bring ourselves back into who we are, connecting in with our own soul, um, moving into connecting in with our intuition, who our intuitive self. So self-abandonment, um, or resentment, you know the resentments of other people. you know we've been always taught through so much time that resentments are evil and we're horrible for doing that. But the reality is, a resentment is actually like going into shock when you get hurt. It puts a
Hmm.
barrier, it puts a padding there that we can step back and say, okay, I need to heal myself first, and then I can deal with you. The
Right.
problem that we have lots of times is we get very comfortable within that resentment, and we hold on to it. So we learn how to let go of resentments. Um, Unconditional love for ourselves. Another
Hmm.
huge, big one where we look at how do we attract that into ourselves. So we do a lot of really heavy inside spiritual work.
Nice.
And then at the end of that course, we look at something called the Ascension Matrix that lies within each and every one of us, and that deals with grace, generosity, and gratitude. And there's the three pillars, and we can step into this here matrix with any kind of situation that we have to propel us over and above ourselves, so that we can have an ascended look at it, be ascended above it, right? Um, so that's another tool that we can have within
So the
our
grace, generosity,
gratitude.
and gratitude.
Gratitude.
Those are all big, the big G's.
Yeah, those are the big G's, and they're all very, like, there is actually momentum and buoyancy to them, right? So we learn all about that and how to actually step into that and really empower ourselves. And you don't have to be in your Akashic records to activate the matrix.
Hmm. And
So
this is which matrix? Sorry, I know that you had
the
said.
Ascension matrix,
Sorry,
the Ascension matrix.
the Ascension Matrix. Now, is that a part of the healing through the Akashic records, or is that the discover your soul's destiny?
No, that's the healing.
We're okay. So that's
Yeah,
the
there's
healing.
something the
Okay.
healing. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty heavy one. Now, each of these
Yeah.
here, Kevin, are they okay? So I understand that the how to read the Akashic records certification or for the practitioner is a weekend workshop.
Mhm.
And then you go away and you practice this again. For anyone that's out there that's listening, this is your opportunity to do a weekend workshop, become a practitioner, And then at what point would you take, or would you advise someone to take the advanced practitioner's certification?
There is no, we don't have no levels. You can jump in and take the healing course as your first course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So there you go.
yeah.
Okay.
Any course that you want to take, you can take at any time. What I found that, and that's what Dr. Linda Howe, she has set it up this way, that if you're drawn to a course, you're meant to take that course. And each course we take, there's always an introduction on how to open the Akashic records, and we do lots and lots of work within them. So when you come to the course, we're actually doing work within your Akashic records. Or actually, you're doing the work yourself. I'm not. You'll
Right.
open up your records, and I'll lead you through the whole process. There's exercises that we go through. Um, so you can take the healing course, you can take even the soul's path, discover your soul's path first, and then take the beginning course or that kind of thing.
Okay.
I would recommend, like, I really encourage everybody to take them all because they're all so empowering. But
Right.
then,
And there's no, you don't, there's no real need to say, okay, these are the different levels and they go in this chronological order. No, it's
no.
whatever you're drawn to. So if you're a healer out there, and I know that you offer a 1-day healing workshop for light workers as well.
Yeah, that was something that's not a certification course. That was just one that I kind of developed on the concepts that I've learned from Linda Howe. And that is really just looking into, what really is a light worker. What is our purpose? I feel that there's so many misconceptions of what a light worker is and what they're supposed to do. And the purpose of a light worker should not deflate you or leave you weak and unenergized. As a light worker, you should be energized. You should be able to shine your light out into the world and feel empowered by it. It shouldn't be disempowering,
Or
and we've been told,
depleting. And
or
that there's
deplete.
a, yeah, there's a lot of people that feel depleted as a light worker or a healer. And so that is not,
That's not
that
right. That's
that's
not.
not right.
Yeah, and that's where, that's part of your, and again, like your soul's path, discover your soul's path. That's another one that's the last course. And when you're on your soul's path, you should be empowered. If you're a light worker and you're on a light worker's path, it should empower you. It should make you happy. You should be excited to get on there. You shouldn't be waking up in the morning going, "Oh God, I got to go out there and I've got to be a light worker again," and I'm so
Right,
tired. Right? No,
right.
you should be excited. And that's what it's really keeping your own power within. It was their light workers course. The Yeah, and that's what the discover your soul's path. That there, so the healing course is really going within. Once you become spiritually enlightened, and that's what Dr. Linda Hall, she had discovered that she thought after the healing course, well, I did all this here work within. Now I can sit in my easy chair and be great and spiritual. And she all of a sudden realized that she's out in the world and she's overwhelmed, right? So that's where she started doing this here work with Discover Your Soul's Path. And that there, and then we look at incarnation. What is our incarnation all about? We really did come into this here incarnation very deliberately. We chose
Yes.
to come here, so it should be empowering to you. And if you're having problems with your incarnation, then you're not going to be able to shine your light out through into the world. You're going to hold it in because you're not happy about it, right? Discipline, um, or sorry, authority. Um, if you have issues with authority, um, you won't be a good authority figure. Like if you feel that an authority is bad, you cannot be good. If your parents were really super bad and they were horrible parents, you will not allow yourself to be a good parent because you
Interesting.
yourself to
Yes.
be right. And
Yes.
the problem. also with authority is, am I will authority on the surface is, or on the truth of authority is that it's pure and perfect. Authority is pure and perfect. It's divine, right? Am I willing to take perfect authority through imperfect vessels?
Hmm.
Right? Mind blowing. You know, so we look at that. Then discipline. Discipline is what holds us steady to be able to move out into the world. Discipline we've been misconceived about. You know, we've been taught that we are being disciplined is a punishment. They're two totally different things. They're not. Discipline isn't punishment. It is something within that supports us and holds us steady so that the life force can flow through us. Right. So
Right.
when we look at our misconceptions on discipline, um, responsibilities, what are true responsibilities and false responsibilities? And then the last one is commitments.
And that is all a part of the healing one.
That's all part, that's the fourth course, the Discover Your Soul's Path.
Right.
And
Right.
once you have all these five, this is called the five-pointed star that dwells within us. Once we have those all clear, then we can step out into the world more securely and confidently, and our light can shine through there. You know,
Right.
are they ever going to be perfect? Probably not, right?
Well, everything's
Mhm.
always moving and
Yeah,
evolving and changing, right? And
yeah.
that's just the way it is. And now, having done so many readings all over the planet, is there any one that you're able to share with us which still kind of sits there with you, and you can always look back at this and say, wow, that was incredible.
Um, the most amazing one that I feel, well, actually, they're all like they all at the time when I do it and stuff is like, oh my gosh, because you fall in love with the person. Like, you know, I love people, so then it's very easy to you step into that realm, and there's such unconditional love. It's like, oh my God, they're so good. You know, this is the perfect person. There's one poor lady. She had went through this horrible relationship, um, and it was very tight, and it was abusive, and it was not good at all. And he actually died, and she got remarried, and she thought this was going to be the perfect chance to get into a perfect relationship that she thought she was getting into, and it turned out to be the same thing. This happened, she was in three relationships, and all three were exactly the same, and she was still in the third one when she came for the reading. And by now she's like in her 70s. And so we did a reading, and she's telling me her story, and right away I'm picking up this self-abandonment. What's going, you know, something happened in your early childhood. What was going on there? And she says, oh no, I had a wonderful childhood. And it's like, well, no, you know, there's something there, this, you know, what was going on in your childhood. And it turned out her mother had extreme depression, postnatal depression.
Okay.
And after her fourth brother was born, um, she went into this here deep depression, and she literally spent the next 9 years in bed.
Oh my.
And because this here girl was the oldest, she was the oldest girl, she would get up in the morning, get all the kids, her brothers, all ready for school, and you know, even when the baby was young, she would make sure there was bottles for the baby, and all the mother had to do was, and she'd take it all into her bedroom, and she would feed the baby, and this became very normal for her. And she went through her whole life, and she was looking after it. But at that point, what she didn't realize is she stepped out of her inner child and became the adult in the family because her father was a traveling salesman and he wasn't at home.
Mm.
Right, so she had to step up, and she loved it. But because she stepped out of herself and out of that childhood, she never stepped back in, and she was always looking for people that or support in the family that she could totally look after. And because there was no support there, that's the type of, she found these abusive people that they loved her, right? Because she did everything. It was at that moment, and I said to her, that's not normal. You have to, we have to look at getting you back into getting that inner child back into where she belongs. And so we did a little bit of work there, and I'd given her, I got some guidance on what her next steps would have to be, or what should be to move closer to that. And it was about a month later, she said, I have found so much love and peace within myself. I've been going for counseling for 50 years,
Oh
and I've
my.
never felt so good in all my life than that one little reading. And by experiencing that, it's like it's empowering. Like, this works.
Of
Like that's
course
gonna.
it does.
And there is so many stories that I've went through. Some are, they're not usually quite that dramatic, but there's pretty dramatic. Things shift, and it's just something so calm and unnoticeable, right? It was there the whole time, but we just had to shine the light on it. We had to shine that Akashic, undivine, unconditional love on that poor little girl that was hidden deep inside her, to have her come back out. And
Wow.
yeah, so that was an amazing, like, it was an amazing, it still gives me goosebumps.
Of course it does. And I love that. I love that story. Now, how long is a session and what do you charge for a session?
I charge, my sessions are $140. They are an hour long. And what we do, we meet, like, just on, I actually do Zoom meetings, or we can do a phone meeting, um, or like, if you happen to be here in town, I'll do them with you, or if I'm in your town, um, we can do it that way. You can go on my website, heartandsoulhealing.ca. There's a
And
little
can you
link in there.
repeat that just for someone who's listening? They may need you to slow that down a little bit.
Okay, it's Heart and Soul Healing, and it's AND, not the symbol. It's heartandsoulhealing.ca.
Perfect. And
And
I will put it on the podcast at the bottom. And I also will make sure that's also on the YouTube brief description as well. So we'll make sure Kevin's website is on there.
yeah.
Yes, sorry, go
Uh,
ahead.
so, and on the website, there's a little tab there where you can book a reading on. And there's actually a page there that describes the readings and the Akashic records and stuff like that. On there, I also post all my classes. Needless to say, with all the in-person classes now, they've all been canceled. Um, and up until this moment, we're not allowed to teach online. But because of the COVID-19 um, thing, then Linda has actually opened it up so we can teach online. So I have actually a beginning course coming up here in April 17th, 18th, and 19th, where I'll be doing an online course.
Okay, so if you could, can you tell us a little bit about that course that you have on the 17th, 18th, and 19th?
There'll be learn to read the Akashic Records certification practitioners course, the beginning, and that's where we'll go over how to open up your records, how to open up the records of other people, and how to open up the records of non-humans, and all using Linda Howell's pathway prayer process to the heart of the Akashic Records. Um, what else? And then in May, I'll be doing an online course for the advanced one. And I haven't secured the date yet for sure, but it'll be probably the third weekend in May. We'll be doing that one.
Well, that's
Um,
awesome. Those two courses are coming up. So one is very soon. And that, again, that's April the 17th, 18th, and 19th. If you want to do the workshop remotely, and of course, May 3rd weekend. But you'll get more details on Kevin's website
Yeah.
if you want to do the advanced.
Yeah. And the same with, I have, if you can have a page on Facebook if you're a Facebook fan. It's the Heart and Soul Healing page on there.
On Facebook as well. So,
Yeah.
and that's a public page.
Yeah, that's public. You can go onto that. And anybody that takes my courses, I actually have a support Facebook group that everybody can join. We do Zoom meetings and all kinds of stuff. Like I know I really encourage people to stay in contact with me, and if they have problems, I have no problem helping people through that. Um, the other thing I should mention too with the Akashic records, it's not psychic. It's a spiritual dimension, so you do not have to have any psychic abilities. Um, you don't even have to believe in it. And I can tell
And
you,
it is something that'll just start, developing, and you'll be able to tap into your sixth sense.
yeah, it'll come. You will intuitively know. There's like 85% of people have a knowing. It'll just be a knowing that comes through to you. So, it'd be kind of like your grandmother when she bakes an apple pie. You think about it and you can smell it, you can taste it. It's like it's there, right? That's your inner knowing, and that's what most people have is that inner knowing. And even if you don't believe fully in it, you'll still have it.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Well, this is absolutely incredible because I mean, you have zero excuse at this point in time what the planet is going through, and Kevin and Linda's incredible work that you can do online in the comfort of your home. And I mean, I have no complaints of what's happening. you know I think it's a beautiful opportunity because you probably would be looking and thinking to yourself, well, I don't know where I can commit a whole weekend to doing something. Well, now you can,
Mhm.
because you can do these things remotely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we say thank you to our listeners?
I think I feel at some point everybody should learn how to access their own Akashic records. It's a dimension of unconditional love and support. And so, like even going through this whole thing that we're going through now, the fear, the anxieties, and stuff like that, you can actually go into your Akashic records and find out, okay, what's going on here? How can I shift that and be more comfortable within myself? So, I would really encourage people to sit back and really enjoy this time. This is a spiritual growth time. It's unprecedented. You're never going to happen to, or this is never going to happen again, right? In our lifetime, or at least I hope it doesn't happen again. Like as a traumatic experience as it is on the outside, on a personal inward level, you can go in on a spiritual level and go, oh my gosh, I have time to sit and really meditate. How many times do we want to just take that, have those moments to sit and be with ourselves and connect? And it's good. It's a good time. Quit
Yeah.
looking at all the negative.
And
It's
you know
it's
what? No excuses. There's
yeah,
zero excuses and all the opportunities. So
yeah.
thank
That's it.
you. Thank
Well,
you
thank you
for
so much.
that.
This
Yeah.
was
Well,
really
well,
empowering.
yes. Well, and I know I'm getting a bit of a little buzz in here because the internet connection for whatever reason is a little bit fuzzy on my end as well. So I
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us. We'll definitely have you back on, and maybe at some point we can get Linda on with you and we can have a three-way conversation, which would be really
Mhm.
incredible, but we'll try to arrange
Yeah.
that for another day.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And so thank you so much to our listeners. And once again, I'm Cylindrin Buller, your host from Uplifting Humans, where we honor, empower, educate, and inspire the listener with real stories and expert advice. We look forward to you sharing this particular segment, and please stop by again. Have a great evening. Thank you again.
Thank you.